In the world of statistics and the scientific method, we often encounter a phrase that sounds unnecessarily pedantic. We fail to reject the null hypothesis. Why can't we just say we accept it? This distinction is not just about semantics. It is the cornerstone of how we understand truth, evidence, and the limits of human knowledge. Today, we will dive deep into the logic behind statistical testing and why not guilty does not mean innocent. To understand this, we first need to define our players, the null hypothesis, H0, and the alternative hypothesis, HA. Think of the null hypothesis as the status quo, or the assumption of no effect. For example, if we are testing a new medicine, the null hypothesis states that the medicine has no effect compared to a placebo. The alternative hypothesis is what we are trying to find evidence for, that the medicine actually works. We start by assuming the null is true, placing the burden of proof entirely on the new data. This approach is heavily influenced by the philosopher Karl Popper and the concept of falsificationism. Popper argued that science cannot prove a theory is true through induction. No matter how many white swans you see, you can never prove the statement, all swans are white. However, seeing just one black swan is enough to falsify the statement. In statistics, we don't try to prove H0 is right. We try to see if our data is weird enough to prove H0 is wrong. Enter the p-value and the significance level, often denoted as alpha. The significance level, usually set at 0.05, is the threshold of doubt we are willing to accept. The p-value is the probability of obtaining our observed results, or more extreme ones, if the null hypothesis were actually true. If the p-value is very small, less than 0.05, we say the result is statistically significant, and we reject the null. But what if the p-value is large? When the p-value is large, we fail to reject the null. This does not mean the null is true. It simply means our sample size might have been too small, our instruments too weak, or the effect too subtle to be detected. Imagine searching for a tiny needle in a haystack for 5 minutes. If you don't find it, do you conclude there is no needle? No, you conclude you haven't found one yet. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. This leads us to the two types of errors in statistical decision-making. A type 1 error occurs when we reject a true null hypothesis, a false positive. A type 2 error occurs when we fail to reject a false null hypothesis, a false negative. By saying fail to reject instead of accept, we are acknowledging the possibility of a type 2 error. We admit that our test might have lacked the power, 1 minus beta, to detect a real difference. Let's use the most famous analogy, the court of law. A defendant is presumed innocent, H0. The prosecution brings evidence, HA. If the evidence is overwhelming, the jury returns a verdict of guilty, reject H0. If the evidence is weak, the verdict is not guilty. Notice the jury never says the person is innocent. They simply state that guilt was not proven beyond a reasonable doubt. The person might be a criminal who just left no fingerprints. In conclusion, the language of statistics is designed to be humble. By failing to reject the null hypothesis, we leave the door open for future discovery and better data. We acknowledge that in a world of uncertainty, we can only move towards truth by systematically ruling out what is false. Next time you see a statistical report, remember, not finding a difference is just the beginning of the investigation, not the end of the story. References: Gujarati, D.N., 2022, Essentials of Econometrics. Friend, J.E., 2013, Mathematical Statistics with Applications. Popper, K., 1959, The Logic of Scientific Discovery. Neyman, J.E., Pearson, E.S., 1933, On the Problem of the Most Official Tests of Statistical Hypotheses.